There's something different about the world after midnight. Not just darker, but emptier. And in that emptiness, people working the night shift start to notice things the rest of us never see. Hospitals, warehouses, petrol stations, care homes, security posts. Places that feel normal in the daylight suddenly turn strange when the clock hits 2 a.m. Corridors stretch longer, silence gets heavier, and every night shift worker has that one moment they still can't explain. Maybe it's the flicker of a light in a room that should be locked. Maybe it's footsteps on a floor above you when you know you're the only one in the building. Or maybe it's that feeling, the one that crawls up your spine, that you're being watched from just beyond the edge of the CCTV. Tonight, we're diving into the stories people only tell when the sun's up, because the night shift has its own folklore. Whispered rules, unspoken warnings, and places you simply don't go alone. Every town has them. Every workplace has them, and every worker has a story that still keeps them awake long after their shift ends. So settle in, keep the lights low, and listen closely. There are night shift stories that blur the lines between exhaustion and something else entirely. Hello everyone, welcome back to episode 48 of Spooky and Kooky. I'm Ellen.
I'm Alice, and as always, if you're into spooky folklore, kooky mysteries and bizarre histories, then this is the pod for you. And tonight, we're diving into weird spooky night shift stories.
Yeah, sometimes maybe something paranormal, sometimes, well, one of mine is not, but...
Yeah, one of mine's really chaotic.
Is it?
So we'll see what we get.
I did find it kind of spooked me out a bit when I was researching them.
Yeah, it didn't help. I was on a night shift last night, funnily enough, just so happened, because I don't usually work nights. And at my work, my office is like on the other end of the building from the kitchen. So when I go get a coffee, we have to walk down this long corridor, and the corridor has sensor lights. So as you walk, the lights turn on and then off behind you. And as you get, it's kind of like a T shape. So you get to this like junction, and there's a long corridor down that side, and that's obviously all in darkness because you don't step down there. So every time I went past there yesterday, I was like, don't look down. But yeah, it can be quite spooky on a night shift, and I think your mind sometimes plays tricks on you, but luckily I've never had anything paranormal happen to me. Touch wood. I don't want to invite it into my life. I like hearing other people's stories and living vicariously through them, but I don't want it
in the safety of the daylight when they're telling you.
Yeah, I don't need it darkening my doors. Right, so you know how it works. We're going to go back to back with different stories, and my first story is from Royal Chariot. I worked the night shift for most of my adolescence. I was on the 3rd and 4th floor of a mall, and one of my jobs was to walk through the back stairwell that was made for the fire escape. I was really overweight at the time and had to take breaks on the stairs. Honestly, relate to that so much.
It's when you get to the top and you're like, I can't look really out of breath, so I've got to just cash it out. And you're like...
As I walked, I suddenly heard something that sounded like footsteps. I called out, "Hello? Security? Is someone there?" Dead silence. I kept walking and heard the footsteps again. This time I shouted, "Security! Who's there?" Nothing. The footsteps started again, and I started hustling. Now, there's no way out of the stairs once you're on them. They go all the way down to the 1st floor and exit outside. I was on the 4th floor at the time. I heard the footsteps coming, and they were getting louder and closer. I started running, and so did the other steps. I raced down the stairs and frantically got my key to disarm the fire door. If you disarm it and go through, the fire alarm will go off. I was trying to get the key in and heard the footsteps loudly coming right at me. I slammed the door open, setting off the alarm. I ran outside and turned around with my mace, ready to spray whoever came out, but nothing. Dead silence. Nobody was there. I had to lie to my boss and the fire department and said I accidentally tripped into the door, which would be really embarrassing if the fire department had to come.
So you want me to write paranormal down?
You were just there with your mace, like, I know this sounds like I did hear footsteps.
Oh, I don't like that though. And I don't ever work the night shift, but I did have a paranormal experience at work, and other people have also had paranormal experiences.
What, in offices?
where I work now, in my office.
At home? Or...
No, no, when I go into the office. So when I have to go into the office, in that office.
When you said where I work now, I was like...
You work here?
In this very room.
I was there.
Yeah, we had a paranormal experience here together.
No, when I have to go to the office. And it really scares me because I am always the first one there.
Oh.
And I always think about it. At the time that it happened to me, it happened when I had only really just started work, working there. So I didn't realise it was something paranormal.
Yeah.
But I was in the kitchen and I saw a lady walk past and I was like, oh, I've never seen that lady before. I wonder who that was. And I went out, obviously, with my tea or whatever I made, and I sat back down. I was like, who was just walking to the bathroom? And they were like, no one. And I was like, no, I just saw a lady with, like, she had long blonde hair, and they were like, there's no one that works here that looks like that. And I was like, oh, cool.
I would have printed off my notice though. Like, sorry, I'm gonna dip.
And then years later, someone in my team was like, turns out my mum used to work in this building when it was something else. And she said she saw a ghost here once. And I'd never shared my experience with her. And I was like, was it a woman?
With blonde hair?
Yeah, and she was like, yes. And I was like, oh. It just cemented it even more.
Do you know what? Office buildings are a weird one as well, because I don't really understand why there would be spirits lingering around there, and it makes me really sad if it's like ex-employees, because I don't want my spirit to be trapped at work.
See, it was an old fort.
Right, okay, that makes that makes so much more sense. Yeah. I was thinking when I go to the great beyond, I'm not going into work. I think that's a good excuse to dip out at this point. It's retirement.
Can't even be happy in death. But yeah, that's it. So when I walk up the stairs to get to our floor to unlock it, the glass is like that two-way, it's mirrored, so I always expect to see something. I never have so far. Right. I've worked nights for most of my adult life, and I used to think the worst thing about them was the silence. I was wrong. Silence is fine. It's when the silence changes that you realise something else is awake with you. It started at 17 minutes past 2. I remember the exact time because I just logged a routine walkthrough. The building was its usual self, cold, humming, half lit. I was heading past the loading bays when I noticed Bay 12's motion sensor blinking red. Bay 12 was sealed. No staff, no deliveries, no reason for movement. I radioed in, static. A long, slow hiss that sounded too much like breathing. I pulled up the CCTV feed on my handheld. The aisle looked empty. Then something moved. A tall, thin shape slipping between the racks, too quick to catch properly. The feed glitched, froze, and when it came back, the aisle was empty again. I should have called it in properly, logged it, waited. Instead, I went to check it myself. That's the job, isn't it? The air got colder the closer I got to Bay 12. Not normal cold, the kind that feels like someone opening a freezer door right in front of you. My breath fogged. The lights flickered overhead, and then I saw it. A wet handprint on the metal bay door. I unlocked the bay and stepped inside. The shelving stood in perfect rows, untouched. The kind of stillness that felt staged. Then I heard it. Tap, tap, tap. Not machinery, not pipes. Something communicating. The tapping came from the far end of the aisle. I raised my torch and walked towards it. Halfway down, the tapping stopped. Then something stepped out from behind the shelving. It looked like a person's shadow, but there was no person. Just the outline. A hollow silhouette, edges rippling like a heat haze. It tilted its head at me, and then it moved. Not walking, sliding, fast and silent, closing the distance like it was being pulled on a wire. I ran. I don't remember deciding to. My body just took over, sprinting down the aisle as a shadow glided after me, stretching across the floor like it was trying to swallow mine. I burst out of Bay 12 and slammed the door. The metal shuddered once, like something hit it from the inside, then nothing. When the day shift arrived, Bay 12 was spotless. No handprint, no cold spots, no CCTV. The entire night's footage from the bay was corrupted.
Of course.
Typical. I handed in my badge before I left. Didn't explain. Didn't need to. But sometimes when I'm lying in bed, trying to convince myself it was exhaustion or a trick of the light, I hear it again in the back of my mind. Tap, tap, tap. Like it's reminding me it knows I'm awake.
That's no trick of the light. That's a very... He saw some stuff.
He's awesome, like, the slamming against the door. Oh my
That's a
god.
concrete experience. And not having the CCTV to explain to anyone in the morning, I'd be so livid.
Yeah,
And you would
I
have-
know what
yeah.
I saw.
And you would have to take the L of just handing in your badge without explaining, because you can't even be like, look, here's my badge, check the CCTV.
Yeah.
You have a ghost problem here. Okay, so this one is called The Staring Man, and it's from Deleted. I don't know if they're called Deleted or if their name was deleted.
I think they probably just deleted their account.
I work night shift at a rehab facility. We have a protected gate with a camera looking down from the above and one of the doorbell cameras. In the office, the camera monitor is on one wall and the doorbell monitor is on another. I was doing some paperwork and see this guy walk past, stop for a few seconds, and then slowly turn around, walk back and stared up at the camera, and he kept staring. The facility is in a rough neighbourhood, so I'm fairly used to folks hanging around the gate and usually ignore it, but the way he was staring was off-putting. Like his eyes and expression were hollow and dead, almost as if he were in a deep thought about something horrible. I was pretty sure he was zonked on synthetics. I used the intercom to see if he was okay, but he just kept staring directly at the camera. We have a rule. If it's not her or trying to come through the fence, just let it be. No sense in engaging needlessly with someone potentially hostile or fucking with the locals. Y'all. I can't say that in an English accent, can you? Y'all.
You can't. It's not an
Yo.
English word.
Yeah, I know. Okay.
Y'all.
Y'all. He stood there and stared at the camera for 2 hours. That same dead-eyed expression staring right at me. I did a round and came back to find him gone, which only creeped me out more.
Yeah, where did he go? It's like when you see a spider and then you go to catch it and it's gone.
And he just burned the whole house down. 2 hours.
I'd have to cover the camera. I can't see him looking at me.
I don't know if I would go outside.
Oh, no, I'm not engaging with this man. I just don't want to see it.
Yeah, but at this point they say if it's not hurting anyone or trying to come through, I feel like it's hurting me with the eyes. But then it would creep me out more if I went out to see it.
I think
and it
I
was
would have
gone.
tried to maybe do something to see if he could see me through the camera somehow. Like, if it was paranormal, if he could actually see me or not, or if he was just, and then if he didn't react to what I was doing, I'd be like,
Yeah.
he obviously can't see me.
Put a sign up like blink twice if you need help.
I'd just be like,
If it was a joke, it's an elaborate joke.
2 hours.
I love a good joke. I don't.
That-
To be fair, I don't necessarily like pranks. I'm not a prankster, but that is committed. That is committed. I would probably last about 2 minutes and then be like, I need a wee.
I would
I'm
immediately
bored.
laugh.
Facts.
I'd try and put on a straight face and it would last 2 seconds before I'm laughing, and then I have to walk away.
And then I think, was the camera feed not recorded? Like, could you not go back and see how he left, or if he just like kind of
Yeah.
like disintegrated? But it doesn't.
Disintegrate. It just turns into a puddle.
But yeah, it doesn't say. So who knows?
I
But
don't like
creepy.
that. Yeah, I don't like that. There's something about people just,
Staring.
just not moving at all that is just very
Yeah.
unsettling.
Do you know what one story was that you told on this podcast that really creeped me out? It was in the Mothman episode, and it was that smiling man
Oh, yeah.
and the way he smiled. And I remember, like, there's pictures of it online, obviously not of the actual smiling man, but that creepy
drawing.
face,
Yeah.
of the smiling man, and just something so unsettling about him smiling. And then wasn't it, he talked to people without moving his mouth? He
Yeah,
just
he
kept
was
the
still
smile,
smiling.
and it was just like he was talking. That is unsettling.
That is horrible. Even though he wasn't actually, like, malevolent, he was fine. Like, he was pretty chill, but you could have picked a different expression. Maybe he thought, this is going to make me really approachable, because they said he was like an alien or something. He was like,
Yeah.
the humans will love this. And he's just like...
Something that's trying to mimic friendly human behaviour, but
Yeah.
just doesn't know how, and
Yeah.
isn't natural.
That's it. That's
Yeah.
what's unsettling about it.
You know it's not human.
Yeah.
So that story really, it stuck with me. Some of the stories we tell on here stick with me more than others. And when we were researching for this episode, I just thought, oh, Mr. Gomez is a perfect night shift
Mr.
story.
Gomez.
But we already told it in Haunted Hospitals. So anyone new, go back and watch Haunted Hospitals because that
It was so good. You know, it actually scared me when I first read it, but then when I read it with you, it was just so funny.
I remember you being like, you know, it's kind of it's really spooky and unsettling, but it is kind of funny.
It could go
you know,
either way.
Yeah, like I'm interested to see your reaction, and within 2 minutes I was like So yeah, anyone who's new to us, go back and watch Haunted Hospitals and
That's a
go to
good
the
story.
Mr. Gomez story, which I think is at the end. That was the creme de la creme.
Oh, okay. Story number 2, the man in the high-vis jacket. I've worked nights at a petrol station for about a year now. It's not glamorous, but it pays the bills, and I actually quite like the quiet. I'm not easily spooked either. I grew up in a house where the boiler made noises and the floors creaked, so weird sounds don't bother me. But this has stayed with me. I'm posting here because I need to know if anyone else has experienced something like this at a forecourt or late night job. It was a Thursday, just after 3 a.m, the deadest part of the night. The road outside was empty and I was doing the usual, just mopping the floor, when I noticed something odd on the CCTV. Pump 3's camera was fogged. Not glitching, just fogged, like someone had breathed on the lens. Except it was an outdoor camera, in the open air, on a dry night. I wiped the monitor because I'm an idiot who thought that maybe that was the problem. It wasn't. The fog stayed. A few minutes later, the automatic doors slid open. I didn't hear footsteps, didn't hear the usual shuffle of someone coming in from the cold, just the doors opening. A man walked in wearing a high-vis jacket, bright yellow, reflective strips, the kind road workers wear. Hood up, head down. Totally normal for the area. We get night workers all the time. He didn't come to the counter. He didn't browse. He didn't speak. He walked straight past the aisles and stood at the back of the shop, facing the drinks fridge. Not opening it, not looking at it, just facing it. I said, "Mate, you alright?" No response. I tried again, louder. Still nothing. I started walking towards him, because that's what you do when you're the only staff member and someone's acting weird. You pretend you're brave. When I got within a few steps, he turned, and that's when I realised something was wrong.
Oh no. Oh, what's it gonna be?
His hood slipped back a little when he turned, and I saw his face. Except it didn't look like a face. Not fully. It was like looking at someone through frosted glass. The shape was there, but the details were blurred. Smudged, like the fog on the CCTV had followed him inside. His eyes were the only clear part, and they weren't looking at me. They were looking past me, over my shoulder. I spun around, expecting someone else to be behind me. Nothing. When I turned back, he was gone. The automatic doors hadn't opened again, so I went straight over to the counter and rewound the CCTV. Pump 3 was still fogged. The shop camera showed the doors opening. It showed me looking up, it showed me talking, but it didn't show him. The doors opened for no one. I walked toward no one. I turned around to look at no one. And then I backed away from no one like I'd seen a ghost. I felt sick. I was debating calling my manager when I glanced out the window. The man in the high-vis jacket was standing outside, right in front of the glass, facing me.
Go away.
But his jacket wasn't bright anymore. It looked soaked, heavy, darkened like it had been pulled out of a river. His hood was down now, and his face was clearer. His skin was greyish, like he'd been out in the cold for hours. His lips were blue, his eyes were wide and glassy, staring straight through me. He lifted his hand and knocked on the glass, just once. Then he pointed at Pump 3. I didn't go outside. I'm not a horror movie character. I locked the doors, called my manager, and refused to move from behind the counter until the sun came up. When my manager arrived, we checked the forecourt together. Pump 3's nozzle was on the ground. The pump screen was frozen mid-transaction, and the timestamp, 3:12 a.m, the exact minute the fog first appeared on the CCTV. We later found out a road worker had been hit by a lorry near the station about 6 months earlier, and he'd been wearing a high-vis jacket. He was thrown several metres and passed away before paramedics arrived. The spot where he was hit, right beside Pump 3.
Why would he come back? Just because that is spooky. Like, just to mess with people.
I guess it's like, they say sometimes it's a traumatic event, isn't it, that gets saved in the landscape.
Like stuck.
It's not a spirit, it's just...
But to not have, like, a featureless face.
Well, then she could see his face, or he, I don't know. Whereas
No, it would just, I just don't even know what I would do. I think I would just stand and cry. And like checking the forecourt together, what are you checking for? Because a forecourt, there's not really much place you can hide.
You're either there or not.
And I've said this before in missing person cases and strange disappearances. People at petrol stations see stuff.
I literally,
but
when I
also-
read that story, I heard you say it.
But also they seem to have paranormal experiences, because I think I might have one in here, but a lot of the ones I saw that were like way too short, they were from petrol stations. And I
Yeah.
was just like, what is it with, they're not exactly like the spookiest place, but I guess they could be in really like remote locations maybe. I don't know, but
I guess, and if
I'm not
sketchy
working
stuff's
on.
going to happen, that's one of the only places that's like open if you're going to rob
Yeah.
somewhere, you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Or, I don't know, people get hit by cars near there, I don't know, and that's...
oh, you'll never see me working in one, especially overnight.
It's just the one knock on the glass, I'll be like...
Yeah.
And would you just pretend... So you've locked everything and you're inside with the man outside. You already know that he can just walk through the walls because he just left. What do you do then? Just keep staring at him, or do you just try and carry on? Do you just try and
Just try and
watch
ignore him.
TikTok for a bit?
Yeah, and be like, if I don't give him attention, maybe he'll go. Maybe that's what he wants.
Maybe leave a Mars bar out there or something as a little like token,
Yeah.
gesture of goodwill.
Or a drink from the drinks fridge. 'Cause
Yeah.
that might be what you wanted.
Yeah.
Who knows? I did have one that I saw from a petrol station that, it's not one of my stories, but I'll just tell it anyway. This woman was working in a petrol station, and her boss would like sometimes like stare at her weirdly, or like be in like weird places just like to like make them jump, and they just like gave them an uneasy feeling. And then it turned out that like years later he was charged and convicted of a homicide of a
my
woman.
God.
And I just thought that is the sort of thing where you go, oh, there were some signs.
He was practicing.
Who knows? There was just signs that he was off. This is my chaotic one.
Okay.
Many, many years ago, I worked at a regional radio station in the middle of fucking nowhere, Australia. I was the overnight operator, keep the overnight playlist running, set up for the morning, do all the manual checks for the next day, and jump on the desk if anything funky happens. I spent a lot of time sitting in what essentially was a tin shed in the middle of a paddock, with my dog, shoes off, listening to 50s and 60s music and doing crossword puzzles. Except one night, when the roo shooters came through, they spooked the kangaroos in the paddock, and one of them jumped head first through our office window. So there's me, barefoot and half asleep, when this 6 foot tall kangaroo smashes through the glass window, blood and glass everywhere.
Oh.
The dog starts chasing the kangaroo,
Oh my God.
and I'm chasing my dog. And the kangaroo bounds around the office, knocking shit off the desks in the dark, bleeding everywhere. I ran and opened the studio bay doors, and my dog chased it outside. So that I just felt was like so chaotic, and what the hell.
You can't predict that.
I feel like when the morning shift come in, they're going to see all this chaos, and you're like, no, you're not going to believe this, but kangaroo smashed through the window and was just in here.
It's just, and then the dog chased it, and then I was chasing the dog.
And I had no shoes on. And I was just sat doing my crossword puzzle.
Everyone's flying everywhere, there's glass everywhere.
Yeah, because he's then barefoot in the glass.
Yeah. I feel like that's just one of those times where you just got to think, I'm just going home now. I'm just going to deal with this later.
I'm just going to call it a day.
I can't deal with this now.
Sometimes animal things are really stressful though, because I remember when I went to the Isle of Wight with 2 of my friends and stayed in the family cottage, and this wasn't a haunting time. This was just chaos, because they have obviously the old style fireplaces there with a chimney.
Yeah.
And we were all sat in the lounge, hee hee ha haing, and then something moves in the fireplace. And you know it's got a door on it. And we were like, what the hell is that? So obviously, because it's like, I'm the person connected to this house, I'm the one in charge. So I was like, right, I'm gonna have to like investigate, because I'm not just going to sleep with something moving in this fireplace. I opened the door and like this black crow flies out. It turned into me and my 3 friends all being outside the house, and I've got a picture that I'll put up, because the crow was just inside, sitting on one of the lounge chairs with us watching it from the outside at night.
Oh, no.
So it's dark outside, and you know the surroundings, there's nothing around, so it's pitch black outside. We're all looking in this window at this crow thinking, what are we going to do? Because I was like, we could just like shut the door and like leave the window open and wait for it to go. But then I was like, if it poos everywhere...
It doesn't look like it wants to go.
It looks like it's set up camp. And my mate had a baby, like her young child there. So she was like, oh, you know, I'm going to just stay with my child in case the bird, like, picks up the child. And you'll see in the picture, the bird was not big enough to pick up the child. So me and my other mate got brooms and we were just running around the house, like, literally, like, blindly. I'm surprised we didn't smash the lights. I'm surprised the whole place wasn't tore up by the end of it. But we finally got it out after chasing it round the house. And every time the bird flaps... instinctually you panic.
Scream.
And I don't know why it's so scary, but you would just be like like running through the house. Oh, it was horrible. It was just the worst time, and I was like, why does this happen to me? And it's my responsibility to get it out, because I thought I can't just leave it here because it's gonna like make nests.
Oh my God.
And then someone else is gonna come in and be like, did you leave a bird here?
The whole house is a nest.
So yeah, that was so chaotic. And it's not a kangaroo. It's not a 6-foot kangaroo.
No, but there's something about crows that's a bit creepy as well.
Yeah, to be fair, I'll probably put the picture up and someone will be like, that's actually not a crow.
That is a sparrow.
It was a black bird. I was like, it's a crow. It's a warning.
Yeah, what's the rhyme? I don't know. Is it where so the number of crows means something? I don't
No,
know
that's magpies. Crows are just like the scary
crows
things
are just
that like
crows.
squawk in fields, and why you need scarecrows put up. So it just goes with the whole spooky vibe.
Yeah, it's spooky.
So I don't know if it was a crow. It was a black bird of some description. It was bigger than a sparrow. Okay? It wasn't like majorly big. It wasn't big enough to pick up a baby. The baby was not small enough for this small...
It's made a nest and just adopted the baby. It's just nesting on.
I felt like being like, I'll sit with your baby. You take
That
the broom.
sounds like the better option.
You take the broom. Get this thing out of my house.
That's the one time we are like this child, and this is a great excuse for me. I'm dipping because of my baby. That's the only reason.
I just remember sending my mum the picture of the bird sat in the chair, and I was like, what do I do? I've never been in this adult situation before where I've had to deal with a bird taking over my home and driving me out.
The property now.
Yeah. So yeah, not a kangaroo, but still very unsettling, very scary.
Yeah, I think it's like the unpredictable flapping that makes them scary, or just the flaps of birds inside where they're not meant to be. There's something about it.
It's just flapping about in a room that's not big enough to be flapped about in.
Yeah.
And because I was like also flapping, and my friend was flapping, and we were just throwing this broom about everywhere. Oh, honestly, it was so chaotic.
Oh.
The bird was probably thinking, what the hell are these buffoons doing?
I'm
just ask me to leave. It's fine, I'll go.
You just open the window after all that and it's like, bye.
But I remember just going back in from the inside because we had shut it in the lounge and having to be the first one to like armed with a broom. Just the visuals of it is so funny to me now looking back on it. Just like opening the door and peering around and just looking at it with the broom like
it's just gonna come at you with its claws.
It's on. Yeah, I could have got clawed my eyes out. Like, honestly, it was a rough night.
Oh god. Okay, this is my last story, and could be one of the scariest just because it's not paranormal, but
Oh.
I don't know. I feel like it's a man-bear situation. It's not, it's just about a man. Anyway. I used to work at this shitty home improvement store when I was 19, a kind of place where the whole building smelled like wet cardboard and burnt coffee. I usually worked 4 till 8 p.m. after college, but sometimes they'd stick me on until close. The first time I saw him was around 6 p.m. He came through my till with a pack of screws. Fine, whatever. Then he came back 20 minutes later with a paintbrush, then sandpaper, then a tape measure. By the 4th visit, I knew he wasn't here for DIY. By the 6th, I knew he was here for me. He kept trying to talk to me, asking where I lived, whether I had a boyfriend, what time I got off. I tried to brush it off at first, because that's what you do when you're 19 and alone behind a register with a guy twice your size, staring at you like you're something he's already decided to take. I told security, they nodded, said they'd keep an eye out, then went back to scrolling on their phones.
By the time 9 p.m. rolled around, the store was practically empty. That's when I had to do the go-backs, all the crap customers dump at the tills when they decide they don't want to buy it. Normally, I just get on with it, but that night I couldn't shake the feeling that if I walked into those dark aisles alone, something bad would happen. So I went to lumber, where one of the younger guys was working. Sweet kid, tall, awkward, the kind of guy who apologises when you bump into him.
Solid character.
Yeah, that's who you want on your side.
Yeah.
I asked if he could walk with me while I put the stuff back. I tried to sound casual, but my voice cracked halfway through. He didn't even question it, just grabbed his box cutter and followed me. We were halfway down the lighting aisle when I saw him again. He was standing half hidden between an end cap and the lumber racks, like he'd been waiting for us. His eyes were locked on me, but when he saw the guy next to me, something in his face twisted, like he thought I'd betrayed him, like he decided I belonged to him and this kid had stepped into his territory. My co-worker stepped forward and said something. I barely heard it, but the guy flinched. Actually flinched. Then he backed into the shadows and disappeared. But I knew he hadn't left. I could feel him somewhere behind us, pacing the aisles like a shark. We finished the go-backs as fast as we could. I kept pretending to look at the labels, but really I was checking reflections in the metal shelves, trying to see if he was behind us. When I finally clocked out, the parking lot was almost empty. Just a few employee cars clustered under the flickering lights. And then, way off at the far end, a single truck. Dark, engine off, but I knew it was him. I didn't need to see his face. I tried to walk as calmly as I could back to my car, but my hands were shaking so badly I dropped my keys twice. I locked the doors the second I got in and sat there for a minute, trying to breathe. The truck didn't move, but I could feel eyes on me. I drove home with my heart in my throat. The next night, I left work a little after 10. I stayed late to help close, even though every part of me wanted to get out of that building as fast as possible. I told myself he wouldn't come back. Creeps get bored. They move on, right? The parking lot was even emptier than the night before, but at the far end again, the same truck, same dented bumper, same dark shape behind the wheel. I pretended I didn't see it, pretended my skin wasn't crawling, pretended everything was normal. I got in my car, locked the doors, and pulled out. The truck didn't move at first. I actually let myself believe I'd imagined everything. Then, as I reached the exit, its headlights flickered on. I felt my stomach drop. He pulled out behind me, keeping 2 car lengths back, not close enough to be obvious, matching my speed, matching my turns. Every time I checked my mirror, he was still there. I took a left, he took a left. I took a right, he took a right. I could feel my pulse in my teeth. I didn't want to go home. The idea of him knowing where I lived made me feel sick, so I drove past my street and kept going. The road got darker, quieter, fewer streetlights. I could barely see the houses anymore. He stayed behind me the whole time. I finally took a sharp left onto a tiny residential road at the last possible second, so fast my tyres squealed. I held my breath waiting to see if he'd follow. He didn't. He kept going straight. I pulled over and sat there shaking so hard I thought I might pass out. My hands were numb. My face felt hot and cold at the same time. I didn't move for 10 minutes. When I finally drove home, I took the long way. I checked every mirror. I checked every shadow. I didn't sleep that night. 2 nights later, my last shift before I quit, I found something tucked under my windshield wiper. No note, no message, just a single pack of screws. The same brand he'd brought the first time he came through my till.
What weirdo.
I moved 2 months later, and I never saw him again. But sometimes when I'm driving home late, I still check my mirrors. Still look for that truck. Still wonder what would have happened if I hadn't taken that left.
Before I discuss that story, I just want to say Rich needs to clear his throat and go on with it. If anyone can hear coffee in the background. We're trying to be atmospheric in here.
Red.
You might not be able to hear it over the mic. Like,
I didn't even hear it too. Really ruined it for you though.
It just kept happening and I was like, come on, just cough it up.
Let's be done with it.
But that story, just because, you know, educational and we all love to learn, she did exactly the right thing by getting that guy in the box cutter.
I just heard him. What is he?
If he's heard me say that now, he's going to keep doing it.
He's going to get louder.
He'll just be standing outside the door like... Oh, it always ruins the atmosphere. We always ruin our own atmosphere. But anyway.
I know.
So, I would just say to anyone, never think you're being silly. If someone is doing that sort of stuff before, buddy system is always the best thing. Walking to your car in an empty car park, even if that hadn't have happened, I would always recommend, if you're walking to your car,
Get those
at
keys
a night
between
shift,
your fingers.
get the keys between your fingers, or buddy system. Even if someone has to walk you out and then go back to work, it's better than you going alone. Like,
You know, it's sad that we have to think like this.
it is sad, but it's the world we live in, and I think, you know, people think they're being silly, but it's really not.
Yeah.
You just should
Trust
just
that
take,
feeling. Trust
yeah.
the gut feeling.
Especially when someone's being like that, and just, if anyone ever is following you in their car, drive to a police station.
That's a good idea.
Because they're not going to follow you in there, and then
Yeah.
you can, even if you don't report it,
Yeah.
sit at the police station, because they're going to hightail it out of there.
Yeah.
They're not going to stay in the area. So that's
And
what...
try and get the number plate and just repeat it in your head until you
Yeah.
get there.
And the make and model of the car. And it is horrible that we have to think like that, but definitely, even if you like went to a friend's house, you don't want them having
Yeah, I
any
wouldn't want them
connection
to know
to
where my
you.
friend lives.
So the only place I would think to go would be like a hospital or a police station, just to
Yeah.
be like,
That's a
try
very good
me,
idea. Yeah.
try me.
Get out that car, see what happens.
Yeah, and you know me, I live my life with a healthy sense of paranoia, like I say, which some may think is silly, but you just can't take chances in this world, and there are
No.
people out there like that. So she did the good stuff, but yeah, just if anyone's in that situation, just don't think you're being silly, trust the gut feeling. And if you're being followed, to the point you're being followed, and
Yeah.
he's been staying in the, you know, security should have kicked him out anyway, but if he's like staying in the shop and then following you home, drive to that police station and just be
Yeah.
like, try me. Okay, so this is from Creepypasta, and trigger warning, it's a little bit gory. Before I even begin my story, I think it'll help to get some background on what this is about. I can't remember all the details and specifics, but I know it goes something like this. Back in the 1960s, there was a surgeon by the name of Judd Mershon. He was well known and liked by all of his co-workers and patients. He strived to be successful and helped each and every one of his patients with undoubtable excitement. Seriously, this guy was passionate. Very passionate. Many thought of him to be on the odd side, but it never changed the way people adored him. Toward the end of his career, people started to notice that Mershon began to stay later than his shift required him to. Some even claimed to have seen him sneaking around in the morgue at late hours of the night.
Here we go.
Turns out, after being caught a few weeks later, Mershon was actually going into the morgue to do something quite disturbing. He knew the morgue staff's late shift ended at 9 p.m, so he waited until then to sneak downstairs. Mershon would then creep into the morgue and open the doors to the freezer to view the recently deceased. He would take them out one by one and dissect their bodies. He pulled their limbs apart. Savoured in the smell of their decomposing bodies, Mershon would cut the muscle out of forearms, delicately slicing them, and set them on a plate, which he later wrapped and brought home.
Oh.
No one knows why he took them. They were the only part of the bodies he took. He frequently would cut out organs, dissect them, and observe parts that had just started the decomposing process. Anyway, you get the point. The guy was seriously fucked up. Just when you thought it couldn't get any worse,
Oh god.
it did. After Mershon finished lacerating the limbs on the bodies, he took body parts from all different people and connected them to other bodies. He would literally stitch one man's arm to another woman's body. Not that that was an easy feat, mind you. After death, skin becomes hard and very difficult to stitch together. Mershon had to be very careful in this procedure. He proceeded to play with them like life-size Barbie dolls.
He is Frankenstein.
Yes. Eventually, someone clocked the security footage and saw what he had done, which would have just...
It would be like, wait, run that back. Having a tea party.
Oh, well, I don't understand, because surely he didn't take the whole life-size body home. So it's like, you had people in the morgue that were being stitched together with different body parts and no one noticed.
Why is Barbara's arm on John?
Yeah, I just find it hard to believe. But this is creepypasta, so...
Yeah, it's
You know.
fictional.
But let's not take it out of the spook, okay. Eventually, someone checked the security footage and saw what he had done. Mershon had a bad feeling that someone knew. He headed to the morgue one final time, took all of the bodies out, laid them on the floor, completely naked. He took a pistol, shot all of the bodies, all point blank range in the head. Mershon went on to slice his palms open. In his own blood, he wrote, "Gone, but never free." With determined hands, he took the pistol to his own head. To protect the hospital, all records of him and what he was done was burned. The ending of the story, of course, always ended with, Mershon is still lurking these halls somewhere. waiting for his next patient. That's what the older employees would tell me anyways. I always thought that's the biggest load of bullshit I've ever heard. Well, I'll tell you something. Seeing is believing. My story. So at this point...
That's just the premise.
Imagine going to work in a hospital and someone tells you that. You would be like...
I think I'd be
Come
like,
on.
this must be... You're hazing me.
Yes. This is an initiation of some kind.
Yeah.
And I don't appreciate it. Right, so... Senior year. You're either deciding what college to go to or finding where the next party is at. In all honesty, I was worried about the party. I wanted to have fun my senior year before growing up. Isn't that what we all want? But to party, you need money. To get money, you need a job. Cue the dramatic music. Has the story scared you yet? No. Okay. On a serious note, I really needed a job. One of my friends told me about a job at the local hospital that paid $14 an hour. A pretty good gig, especially for a part-time student like myself. Nevertheless, I took the job without question. My job was basically to just answer the phones and transfer them to whomever. However, it was exhaustingly boring. I worked the night shift on weekends from 5 to 10:30 p.m, which, can I just say, that is not a night shift. That's an evening shift.
That's a late shift. Yeah.
Amateur. Being the new employee, everyone tried to scare me with the urban legends and ghost stories of the hospital. I wasn't one to ever fall for those stories because I was usually the one making them up. I knew exactly all the twists and turns and how precise you had to be with getting every single detail right every time I told it. You couldn't get caught slipping up, then none of your stories would be believable. Either way, these stories they told me didn't raise a single hair on my neck. Plus, they were all different variations, which made them unbelievable. You're hard. After I finished my training, I got to work by myself. I was pretty excited, considering the lady that trained me was a real stickler. It was nice to look forward to doing things in my own time, without anyone hovering over me. It was a Saturday night when it happened. Everything was normal and boring as usual until a little after 9 p.m. Strange stuff started to happen that I didn't take much notice to. A couple of lights flickered, something crashed in the basement, and footsteps were heard with no one there. You know, the normal scary stuff. I thought it was just Carl, the security guard, trying to get a reaction out of me. After all, he was the one that told me about Judd Mershon. 10 minutes later, a thought occurred to me. If Carl wanted to scare me, wouldn't he have jumped out by now to laugh at me? The thought unsettled me a bit, so I decided to give him a call on the phone. It rang and rang. I was about to hang up when I heard the slight click that indicated that someone was on the other line. I was quiet and all I could hear was harsh breathing and what sounded like water dripping in the background. I know that old fucker was around the corner laughing his ass off. "Knock it off, Carl," I said with a slight chuckle. I hung up the phone and shook my head. If he was going to scare me, he was going to have to try a lot harder. I waited a couple more minutes while I glanced around, waiting to see him pop out and say boo. Screw it. I looked at the clock and looked up at my computer and headed towards the stairs. There was construction work from earlier on that day, so I grabbed a metal pole from the pile. Plus, I thought it would be ironic for me to jump out with it and scare him instead. This is how accidents happen.
Yeah, he's going to brain Carl.
Down the stairs I went. Every goddamn step had to make a loud echo in the stairwell. I made my way to the basement door, and suddenly a concerning feeling washed over me. I couldn't explain it, and I still can't to this day. It was a sense of absolute dread. It almost suffocated me as I reached the basement door handle. I slowly took my first steps into the empty hallway. My foot seemed to land with an amplified thud. I took a look around, as expected. All I saw was an empty conference rooms and offices. Everything was silent, except for the continuous tick-tick of the wall clock to my right. It all of a sudden felt as if I was in slow motion. "Damn security guard," I muttered under my breath, as I had no one else to blame for how I felt. I continued down the hallway. The green hospital walls and flooring made me exceptionally dizzy and close to vomiting. What the hell was wrong with me? Something about the dim lighting and increased smell of decay messed with my head. I kept walking, taking slow and deliberate steps. Around the first corner, something suddenly clanked loudly to the floor. Instinctively, I ran and pressed my back against the wall corner. God damn it! I shook my head and tried to regain my composure. Controlling my breathing proved to be quite the challenge. I raised the metal bar carefully into a swinging position.
Oh my God.
Anticipation got the best of me, and sweat began to pool on my face and neck. Anxiously, I span around to see the open hallway. There, in the middle of the floor, was a small black object. Cautiously, I reached down and turned the thing over in my hand. Carl's phone. What the hell? I slowly stood and laughed like an idiot. Thinking this was all just a bad joke, I glanced around the offices nearby, down the hallway. I heard limping footsteps coming towards me. I glanced over and saw Carl come into view. breathing hard. "Carl?" I whispered, looking at the blood that rushed down his face. He got closer and roughly grasped my arm. I could feel him shaking. "We have to go now," Carl rasped, while he led me into a room I hadn't been in before. "What the hell is going on?" I muttered to him while he fumbled with the keys to the door. "He's coming for us," he coughed. He threw open the door. I stumbled in after him, the door shutting with a slam behind me. The room in front of me was pitch black. The air felt so moist that I could almost reach my hand out and feel it. It was in that moment I noticed that the smell from earlier had suddenly intensified. It overcame me and made me gag. I covered my nose with my shirt and tried to block it out. "Carl!" I cried, while my free hand searched for anything I could grasp onto. "Over here, little lady," Carl whispered from somewhere to my left.
Aww,
I turned
Carl.
and started towards him. I felt completely lost. "Oh, she's a woman."
Yeah.
I thought it was a man this whole time. Okay.
I thought that until that comment.
Yeah, and then it spun me because I was like, why is Carl just being like...
Who's the little lady?
Yeah, shut up, Carl. "Where's the light switch?" I called out as I stumbled aimlessly through the dark. "Shit," I cried when I stubbed my toe on a metal desk of some kind. That would be the straw that breaks the camel back.
Yeah.
"Carl, where are you?" I realised that everything was eerily quiet. The smell of decay got even stronger. I froze when I heard shuffling close by my right ear. Drip, drip, drip. At this point, I didn't even know if I was breathing or not, or if my heart was still beating in my chest. I put my hands over my ears and tried not to cry. I felt a wall behind me and slowly slunk to the floor in defeat. Just then, the lights turned on. I squinted and glanced to my left. There was old freezers, some of which you would find in a morgue. It began to click in my head when I looked up and saw it. There in front of me was Carl. He stood with a knife in his right hand. His left palm bled and dripped down to the floor at a steady rate. Behind him was a dozen roughly stitched bodies scattered on the floor, with bullets in their heads. I glanced back up at the man that I knew as Carl, who was now wearing a surgical mask and scrubs. I watched as his face changed into an older and different man, whose face twisted into a smile.
So it was not Carl.
No. Oh, Carl got taken over.
Carl was possessed.
Carl's gone.
Just leave Carl behind.
We all need to accept that Carl's gone.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Wow.
Stressful.
That was very stressful.
That is a night shift and a half.
That is. I
could
want
not
to be
deal with
paid
that.
double for that.
But yeah, that was creepypasta. So fortunately, hopefully not real. If it is real though, the hospital where it came from burned all the records.
Conspiracy. Well,
Cover up.
yeah, it's not really a conspiracy when we know it.
Yeah. Maybe I should have looked up the name Judd Mershon.
That's a memorable name.
Dr. Judd. He was an odd guy.
Kind of weird.
He had an odd hobby. No, that's definite red flags.
Okay, right.
Twisted tongues.
Twisted tongues for the next one. See if
Comment
you know what
down
it is.
below if you know what it is.
3 keepers gone with no farewell. A lamp still lit where silence fell. Boots untouched and clocks aligned. What stole the men and left no sign.
Ooh,
You
this is going
tell
to be a
us.
good one, I think.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to diving into the research of that, and then looking forward to telling you guys. But as always, if you enjoy our content, please like the video and consider subscribing to our channel if you want to see any more spooky folklore, kooky mysteries, and bizarre history. And we'll hopefully see you on the next one. See you later.
Bye.
Spooky and kooky, mystery and wonder. Feel the magic under. Spooky and kooky.